finding money for where they will play. I don't think that you have found yourself in the right business, or you understand the business you find yourself. Before you find the money for the bonus, find the money for the groundsman, find the money for the new grass, find the money for the irrigation, find the money for the fertilizer. That is the sport, because without all we are talking about, the nice things that we are talking about here, it all comes to the green pitch. I saw the highlights, and when the pitches were green, it looked good. Yes. When the pitches were brown, it looked awful. It looked so bad. It doesn't market the league.
Yes.
I'm always passionate when I'm talking about pitches, because we can invest and plan and do a whole lot of things. If the pitches are poor, the marketing will be bad, no matter how good production I will give it to.
Okay, Julius, let's make it simple. You have a responsibility of saying that Club A or Club B, you have been given a license or a conditional license to play at venue A, B, C. Why do we often have brown pitches being approved and given conditional licenses for football, when you yourself have just told us that we need to improve on the infrastructure bit of our game if we want to be able to market the product?
Thank you very much. So I did mention that, of course, we are the licensor, we are the regulator.
Yes.
But we've never approved a brown pitch for the league before.
Oh, come on.
So we've never, you understand when I go forward.
I understand. I really understand where you're coming from.
That's why I started by saying that we are learning as we go on.
Yes.
Realize that when we give the licenses, at the time we go for the inspection where the teams will prepare and make sure the pitch is in good shape. Listen, in well-established country, I was in Europe recently, in Portugal.
Yes.
After every game, there is a special assessment of the grass. But 2 days is
we don't have that money here, please.
I'm coming. You always say that. To put the grass in good shape. This does not cost that much. Ask yourself, in how many of the games you have seen being played in Ghana that you see groundsmen even go to the pitch at halftime to fix back some of the grasses that have removed, some of the areas that have become, a pothole because of the running of the players. You don't see that. And that is what we're talking about. The clubs must employ the right people. We are ready to train them if they want, if they break, they have failed them. We will train them so that they will do the right thing.
Okay.
Maintenance is the key. And it even runs through the national stadium. Okay. So who approve the pitches as it is, that it meets the standard. But the point is that during the course of the season, most of the clubs go to sleep. Most of the facility owners, they go to sleep. Yes, we have to strike during that period as well. So you realize that during the course of the season, some venues lose their license because what we do is that we have 3 monitoring platforms. We have the TV matches when it comes on live.
Yes.
We have the match commissioner's report, which is supposed to indicate the state of the pitch.
Yes.
And then we have the sport check inspectors who can arrive at your venue unannounced to see the facility, the state of the facility.
Yes.
Now, if any of these reports highlights a poor state of your pitch, we will send a warning letter that this is what we realized.
Okay, so hang on there.
Then a second one, before the venue is revoked. So we check it throughout the season. So it is not like when once a while you see a live match or you see a picture or you see a video coverage of a game where the pitch has become brown like, that is what we approved. No, that is not just telling what we
just hang on there for me. Razak, I've just been told we have NS with us. And NS is a specialist. He's a specialist when it comes to this area. This is one man who has a perfect understanding of what marketing is all about. And I think I remember earlier when we were having a conversation, you had said that you have a question to ask him about how branding influence attracting people to the stadium and all that. NS, we appreciate your time. My colleague Musbau here has a question for you. He had mentioned it, cut letter, at the very moment we told him that you were going to be on the show.
Well, NS, what we want to appreciate is that the club license manager was talking about the pitches and how they help, help in the marketing of the league and all of that. Just try and help us appreciate how having good pitches help market the league, help get spectators into the stadium, help package the product and make it attractive, particularly for people to patronize it.
Please unmute for us, Ernest.
Apologies.
Thank you.
Technical things are not marketing, so. All right. So this conversation is for Julius more than any of us, because of all of the things, the collection of components that should make the football what we want it to be. He knows, and I realized he was enlightening all of us so much. So maybe in the near future you need to have Julius so that he can share more, because he's on the ground, fortunately, and he's engaging and interfacing with these stakeholders all the time, the clubs, the footballers, and the other people in the ecosystem, the football ecosystem. So, I mean, this is it. It's very simple. The president of the Football Association, Kotoko, made it very simple from the beginning. Yes. I listened to his interview, and he made it very simple. And this is Kotoko with what 20 plus years experience doing football. Yeah. So he knows it when he says stuff. And he noted one thing: science. Yes. Science. What is science? Science is empiricism. So that, yeah, there's a place for emotions. There's a place for feelings. There's a place for gut feeling. I think all of these things have got a place in the football we do. But you see, the basis for football is science. So that if we're not approaching this scientifically, empirically, then we won't get anything right. Okay. So before we get into the different components, page, TV, all of that, I've been asking myself the question, and I think it's a good platform to ask it. So what fuels the football we play in Ghana? The football business we do in Ghana, what fuels it? What fuels it?
That's a difficult question, Ernest.
It is a difficult question, but we've got to find a response to that question, because if we find that response, then we'll be starting from somewhere.
We have a solution.
We can begin to realistically deal with it, because if the president talks about the science of it, and then he went on to say the science is what will give birth to strategy, and strategy is nothing but a portfolio of things, activities we do to move from one point to the other. Now, when we do the science of the football we're playing, it simply means that we will probably do some research and do some situational analysis and know where we are. So where are we with our football? That it is still largely a pastime. Football in this country is 90% a pastime. It is the reason the person who is owned a football club or done football like Alhaji Grosa for 30 plus years will still have issues with you when you're trying to make him understand why we need a pitch to be of a certain quality for you to play football. Yeah. And you can't blame Alhaji too much, because he will tell you, oh, you know, when he sold Mohamed Ghana and Sami Kufuor and the rest, you were not born. You see, so some of these arguments they will make. There are people who belong to the old school who have not necessarily left the old ways of doing things. So you realize that football as a pastime is stronger than our desire to make football real business. And I have been involved in trying to get some clubs that are clients to accompany the BAC group to appreciate what has to go into transition from this, oh, my feeling, oh, you know, I'm doing this club because I love it, I come from here, you know, so, and then issues of structure, people, process, procedure, and all of that. These are the things that make football science. So when we have data, and data tells us that, okay, so 30 years ago, football was this way because it was influenced by these things. Yes. Today, globally, football is this because these are the things that are driving it. So how do we plug ourselves into the global system? Okay, so the global system is thriving in certain places. Europe undoubtedly is the leader of sports, the leader of football in the world.
Yes.
So what is Europe doing? And then you realize that we don't have to reinvent anything, yeah? We don't have to reinvent anything. Find out what others are doing, and then you have the will to want to replicate. But you don't replicate wholesale. You
replicate to suit yourself.
Yeah, replicate to suit. You've got to modify, etc. So that you take into consideration your culture, and people say, "Oh, our culture," and I said, you're forgetting that there's a certain global trend that is overtaking what our indigenous culture has been over the years. Because we're consuming football content from different parts of the world apart from ours.
Yes.
So I am not here to try and profess, TV is important, the stakeholders are important, we need to understand the fans. Okay, so we need to get to the bottom and understand why corporate Ghana is not putting money into football. No, all these things have been said over and over again. Listen, I'm doing 20 years in media, in broadcasting, 20 years. And some of these discussions you are having, I had 15 years ago. Some of these Premier League content, I did 15 years ago.
So how come this conversation, we've had it for many years, but we've not been able to actually find a solution?
It is because for every sector, every industry, there are stakeholders. But don't forget that the stakeholders are not all on the same level. The stakeholders have got different influence, they impact differently, etc. Now, the biggest, most influential stakeholders in Ghana football are the owners of the clubs and the people who finance the clubs. And until we get them to appreciate what it means to transition from football as a pastime to football as a business, we will be here. And 10 years from now, when maybe you retire from media, Muftau and your colleague, when you are not doing media regularly, like I've been doing 5 years, you listen to young people, continue the same conversation. So we've got to get the keys, the most important of all the stakeholders. And in this country, it is not the funds. It's not the funds. In Europe, it is the funds that was okay. Or the funds, we need to do it this way so that they will buy what we're selling. Here, the funds are not a big consideration because there are 2-3 people who are making all the investments, are putting their money in the sport, in the game. And those must be made to appreciate what it means to transition from football because it is still largely a pastime. Now, just 2 things before you go. Okay. I have said not once, not twice, that we don't have any business playing an 18-club Premier League. We don't have that. Why have 18 competing clubs in the Premier League? It's absurd. It's absurd because now you have $2 million for the,
and if technically it's 1 million.
Yes, so technically 1 million. Yes. And 1 million you have to share a part of it. And people are thinking, because we've got 1 million, then all the 1 million must go to the clubs. It doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. If the big leagues in Europe, Serie A, Premier League, La Liga, if they are making 2 billion a season, 1 billion, 1.5 billion a season, all of it won't go to the clubs. There've got to be money set aside for operations. It's the same way with the Ghana Premier League. But you've got 18 clubs competing in a league that can have 10 or 12 maximum. 10 or 12. Because we know that there are clubs that do not have any business playing Premier League football in this country.
Yes.
That is one.
And most of these clubs, they'll not be happy with you.
No, that's up to them. That's up to them. You've got 48 clubs playing first division football, what we call Division 1. That's absolute absurdity. You don't need 48 clubs. 14 to 16.
So how many clubs should play the Premier League?
10 or 12, maximum 10 or 12.
So that we can give more money to them, isn't it?
And not just the money, but to make the management of the product itself better. Okay. Because with 10 clubs, you have better pitches, you've got a better scope, a better framework. You see, you get them to understand things properly. Clubs that must merge. Okay. We don't need different clubs coming from until we get to that point where we can increase the number of clubs. The same for Division 1 football. So
Ernest,
tell me how many clubs play Division 2 football in this country.
So Ernest, not to cut you, but I'm going to cut you. And what I'm going to ask is, so what must we do this season that would help us?
Okay, the season is starting at the weekend.
Yes.
We must consolidate the gains we've made. We can't see. I'm sure we're not oblivious of the gains we made from last season.
Yes.
We did some good things last season from the point of the Football Association and the Premier League and all of the people involved in the administration of the Premier League, the clubs, excuse me, the funds, the media, and all of that. We've got to again pull out data and be sure of the good things we did so that we consolidate them, harness them, improve them, move them forward. And then we look at the things that remain a big gap. I don't know how regularly we do our gap analysis. It is important. If you are not doing your gap analysis, I mean, someone was telling me that there was a congress for the clubs and all, or that they were in Pram Pram, something they used to do many years ago. I see they're still doing it. And it's a day meeting. And I said, how possible is it? Can you review an entire football season and plan for a new football season, even in a day or 2 or 3? Charlie, but that's a whole 1 week stuff. And it has to be strategic and scientific, as the president of the FA said. Okay. It's not a yeah or a no thing. You understand? Okay. So when we do that, we will know the things we did wrong and the things we did well, improve the things we did wrong, and then also consolidate the things we did well going into the new season. And it cuts across our Marcoms and then the clubs themselves taking responsibility and making sure that, like Julius was saying, get the pitches to be in good shape, pay the players well. But, the conversation about paying players well is very big, because it's also an issue of the economy and what is available and all. But if you pay a player at this point $30 to play football in this country, then you know that it will be difficult to go anywhere, because that's what 300 CDs.
Okay.
So if we want to go about this, we won't finish. But like I told you earlier, this is a bigger conversation for Julius and his team, because they are the ones running this. But let's get the clubs to appreciate what it means that we require a departure, an absolute departure from, and it shouldn't be, it can't be
Change is difficult, Ernest. You know this. Change is quite difficult.
30 years. We've been playing the Premier League for 30. The Premier League in England celebrated 30 years. We're also doing 30 years.
Thank you very much.
Let's compare the two products, man. Let's compare the two products.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Ernest. We appreciate your time with us. We're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, we'll be going to Tamale, we'll be going to Kumasi, we'll be going to Sinyani, and we'll be bringing you all the details you need to know about the Ghana Premier League. In fact, we're at the training grounds of Kumasi, Asante, Kotoko, as well as many other clubs. And we have lots of stuff to share with you right after this break.
If you have just joined us, this is GPL Primer on Joy News and Joy Prime. We're also on all our digital platforms on Facebook. It's streaming live there on Joy Prime, on Joy 99.7 FM. And also tweet us out using the hashtag GPL Primer. And also can tweet at us at Joy Sports, tweet at Muftau, Nabila, also on Twitter, and also can tweet at me, and we'll get your opinions on all of the issues that we're discussing here across. And now we went to Kumasi Asante Kotoko's training ground, and my colleague Fentio Tahiru was there to see Serge Zeze. I like his name. It's like he has an iconic name.
Is it the name that
I tell you, Zeze has a certain feeling. It comes with a certain feeling.
Like Zidane.
Yeah, I mean Zeze.
Zidane.
Zeze comes with skill sets, all of that. Then you have
Steven Mokwala,
Frank Etuga, George Infegi.
Biggie.
So we're going to go to the training ground, and Fentio Tahiru was there.
Kumasi Asante Kotoko players currently going through their paces here at the Aquinas Park. And trust me, that is almost like what it will be for the rest of this season. At the start of every new Ghana Premier League season, many people's money
is always on Kumasi Asante Kotoko. And why not? This club has won it all. 24 league titles, the last one last season. So they are the hunted at the start of this campaign. They have been preparing feverishly. This is the third leg of what has been a very busy preseason for Kumasi Asante Kotoko. They started here in Accra and then took it to Sudan, where they played 4 friendly matches. Of course, the results were not that great. You know, they lost 3 of them and drew 1, and they've brought the preparation back to Accra for the third and final leg before the start of the season. The team has made so many changes to both their technical bench and the playing body. As many as 12 new signings have been brought into this side. The most high profile of them, perhaps Eric Sej Zeze. The reason being, he's one man that's been brought in to replace 2 highly rated midfielders from last season, Fabio Gama and Mudasiru, both of whom have left the club. Kotoko's campaign this season, of course, is double dose. They will have to contend with the CAF Champions League, a competition they haven't particularly done so well in the last few years. Their first Ghana Premier League game of the season is against Instructorman over this weekend, but that will have to wait a few days because the first piece of assignment for them is a trip to Burkina Faso to face RC Kadiogo. And that team is the old familiar stomping ground of Kotoko's new coach, Seydou Dzebo. The man from Burkina Faso, very familiar with the Kumasi or Babayara territory. He brought Burkinabe's Chan team there and qualified ahead of the local Black Stars team. He's the man now in charge of Kumasi Asante Kotoko. And the expectation is that he delivers nothing short of the Premier League title. But if he has to do that, he has to first get to know a lot of his new players, as well as trying to play a brand of football that Kotoko feel has always been identified with them. All of that together makes for a very interesting campaign going forward for the Porcupine Warriors. But this team, if there's anyone out there that is experienced and knows how to play a league season, it's Kumasi Asante Kotoko. And going into the new campaign, expectations are very high on them. From the Aquinas Park here in Accra, Fentu Tahir Fentu, GPL Primer.
Okay, that is my colleague Fentu Tahiru. He was at Kotoko's training ground at the Aquinas Park. And when we got there, we noticed that Etuga was not training. Richmond Lamte was also not training. I had a tete-a-tete with them, and they had told me some stuff. I don't know whether it is permissible to put them on record, but they didn't appear to be very okay when we got to the training ground. So they didn't even join the full training session. They had to sit aside. But let's just wrap up pretty quick. Yes.
Yeah, because in the case of Kumasi Asante Kotoko, the exit of Prosper Nata Ogum, that drama that surrounded his exit,
yeah.
I feel like
I'm not too sure. Completely. I'm not too sure it will take anything away from Kotoko. So, you see, the interesting thing about Kotoko is that sometimes it appears they do well when there's controversy surrounding them.
Well, it does appear, but on Friday, I'm sure, because they're supposed to leave today to Ivory Coast. I'm sure they've set off.
Yes.
On Friday, they're going to face RC Kadiogo, and that's going to be like...
That game has been moved to Sunday.
To Sunday, rather. Yeah. So I think the Burkinabe has a huge task at hand, retaining the title.
But as you heard Fentio mention, Seydou Dzebo, he knows the team very well. So
we'll just wait to see, because one thing you can identify, or that's very characteristic of Kumasi Asante Kotoko fans, is that they are impatient. Win, 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 win. Don't win, you got fire.
If teams were not demanding for wins, coaches wouldn't be fired. but let's just wrap up with Julius Emuna. I just want to take his final comments before he will go and sleep. Julius, sorry, I've kept you on longer than I actually anticipated. What are your final comments before you go to bed?
Thank you very much. Final comment before I leave. Anyway, so it's important for us to take note of this. What club licensing is seeking to do is to answer all the worries and questions you have.
Okay.
That is why we need you to help also educate. I share the licensing regulations with my colleague journalists. I'm also a journalist. and none of them, I mean, few of them share it on their radio. Yes, it's very technical, and sometimes it can be boring to the listeners. So if you look at the way the commercialization of radio, you might not be pushed to be talking about it. That's why I was sacrificed to stay this late to talk about it, because for you to give your airspace to such education, I mean, that's a lot of sacrifice. So I don't take such opportunity lightly at all. But
thank you.
We encourage other journalists to also take the painstaking step to educate more on this, because you are talking about commercialization, we're talking about marketing, we're talking about supporter engagement, we're talking about club setup, all the concerns and all the discussions that the NS said he talked about 15 years ago. If club licensing is being implemented strictly, and clubs are being compliant, and we check that what they are supposed to have and what they are supposed to do, they are having it. It seeks to address all these concerns.
Thank you.
Let me give you one example. When the president of the FA said that our fans are away from us. Yeah. Clubs and the club license are supposed to have a supporter liaison officer. And the duty of the supporter liaison officer is to organize a supporter group. Ask yourself, how many, apart from us and Kotoko, how many clubs have organized supporter group? How many of the clubs are there?
Please leave it there at a question mark. Just leave it there at a question mark. Thank you.
So that is the role. That's the role of the supporter liaison officer.
Thank you.
So that you have a supporter liaison officer. It is to address some of these issues. So let's push it. Let's continue to propagate the club license.
Yes.
To address the pretty issues that is making the Ghana League lag behind other established. And we'll get there.
Thank you. And continue to do the good job and get us there as everyone is seeking. Let's go to Tamale. Right now, Say Mubarak is on standby. But before we hear from Say Mubarak, we have a report that was put together by our Northern Regional Correspondent in the person of Awal Wahab Yamzua, and he's been speaking to the new coach of RTU, as well as some supporters, and then the Regional Football Association chairman of Northern Region, Alhaji Raizo.
Another Ghana Premier League is here upon us, and for fanatics of Real Tamale United, it is an opportunity for them to make their way to the Alius Muhammad Sports Stadium and enjoy not just football, but a club they have followed for many years. RTU, noted as the pride of the North, made a return to the country's top flight after 8 years hiatus last season, but they survived the season by a whisker. Management have made changes to the technical and playing body. Baba Malam Nuhu, he has been tasked to oversee the technical affairs of this team.
To tell you the truth, I would say I'm not bringing anything for now, because I don't always want to praise myself or say something that, you take me on one day that I said this, I said that, I said this. I am a coach, one, and then secondly, RTU is a club who are in the Premiership. So I'm only trying to do my best by trying to see the materials that they have, what I can do to put this material together, so that at the end of the day, Real Tamale United will have a team to compete in the Bet Power Premier League.
RTU in recent years have struggled to make an impact in the country's top flight competition. Baba Malam Nuhu has been explaining the role everyone required to play to ensure that the team is able to compete against the best and make a statement in this year's Premier League.
It is not the duty or the work of the coach to do something so that said dramas will stop, because there are a lot of stakeholders who form a team. We have the technical team headed by the coach, we have the playing body, we have the supporters, they have their supporters leadership, we have management, we have the board. All these people makes up the team, and so it isn't only the coach who will do something for the team to avoid that drama. All these stakeholders are supposed to work. If we have a structure in place and everybody is supposed to do what you are supposed to do, if all of us are doing it, at the end of the day, the team will find itself at its rightful place. Because I will be happy at the end of the day the team is placed even in the top 4. that one I can say I have done something, because it's been long that RTU placed itself in that position. And so for me coming in now, I have a long-term plan, I have a medium-term plan, and I have a short-term plan. The short-term plan is to mobilize the players to attend training as soon as possible. That I have done that. The medium term is to make sure that we play and sustain ourselves in the league. And the long-term plan is to make sure that the team plays itself in a very good position at the end of the league. So for the short term, yes, we are achieving that because the players are at the training grounds working. The medium term, yes, when we start the league, we'll try to work hard to achieve that medium term. And the long term, at the end of the season, we'll see whether we are able to achieve that or not. To remain calm, when the season starts, they should expect good football, and then they shouldn't expect that all the teams should be winning every time. It is possible you can win all your matches, and it is possible too you might lose or draw certain matches. So as a fan, when you are coming to the stadium, always make provisions for any of these things to happen, so that at the end of the day you will be taken by surprise.
That is the head coach of Real Tamale United, Malam Baba Nuhu, speaking on a variety of issues as we build up to the Ghana Premier League. He replaced Shaibu Ibrahim Tanko as the head coach of the team. And you heard him clearly. He does not have any magic wand to change the drama that Real Tamale United fans witnessed. From Tamale, let's go to Samatex. And at this place, they are a newly promoted side to the Ghana Premier League. And one person who caught up with them is right here in the studio with me, Musbau.
Yeah, I mean, amazing club. If you look at the circumstance leading to their qualification, they qualified with, I think, 3-4 games to spare. It's been great. And if you look at it closely, they look like they're definitely going to offer some competition.
Say Mubarak, thank you very much for joining us. What is the atmosphere like in Tamale now that we have two teams from one region, or from one, how do I describe Tamale?
Sector of the country.
One town. City. One city. Okay, yeah. Let's say one city. Okay. One city. So what is the atmosphere like within Tamale as we build up to the Ghana Premier League? Tamale City, we are Tamale United.
Well, thank you very much, Muftau. I think the excitement very, very high here in Tamale because for the first time since 1986, we haven't actually had any, of course, two teams playing at the top flight of Ghana football. The last team to have joined Real Tamale United was, of course, Roadmasters. Of course, it will surprise you to know that the former head coach of Real Tamale United of the Roda, Shaibu Ibrahim Tanko, was a member of that team that qualified to join Real Tamale United in that same year. Unfortunately, they just played one season and went back to the first division by then. And so people are so excited. And of course, it also means that football development here in the north is gradually getting back. And those days you have the likes of Clifford Adai together with Shaibu Ibrahim Tanko forming that crop of team to battle Real Tamale United. But I tell you, of course, both teams are gearing up ahead of this season. And definitely we are going to experience a lot of excitement because we are going to have week in, week out Premier League matches here in Tamale.
Talk to me about Tamale City. A newly promoted side. You can talk about RTU. You're a bit experienced because they made a return to the Premier League last season. In fact, one of the players of RTU actually said that Tamale City are their younger brothers. So talk to us about Tamale City. What does it mean to have Tamale City qualify to the Premier League for fans, football people within Tamale?
Well, I think the dynamics, and the momentum has been gathered for the past 5 years. I think when Tamale City came into the scene,
yes,
they've actually really done so well.
Yes.
And they've proved to be one of the best teams, especially in the domestic front, coming from the first tier or second tier of Ghana football to the Premier League now.
Yes.
Had it not because of the Anas expose, had it not because of the COVID-19, yes, I think Tamale City probably would have been playing in the Ghana Premier League because if you look at their performances in these leagues I have mentioned, they were virtually almost, getting to the top flight of Ghana football. So for the third time, I think that they have been lucky this time around. And I think it's a wake-up call. Many think that this is a wake-up call to the landlords of football development in the North, because when you come here, it's all about Real Tamale United. Yes, many did not actually want to see Tamale City join the Premier League because of the rivalry between the two sides.
Exactly, and I was coming to the rivalry aspect. I understand that rivalry between Real Tamale United and Tamale City. It's quite a deadly one.
Yeah, exactly. If you look at matches between the two sides, it's just a few, about 2 matches I would say that have actually ended successfully. The understanding of the game has always been very difficult for our supporters here, but I think gradually, with a lot of education coming through, we're getting there, though it is not going to be easy, but I think gradually we'll get there, we'll understand how it is to be rivals in football.
Okay.
But Real Tamale United is yet to beat Tamale City in any organized competition since they actually joined, their second tier and now getting into the Premier League. So yes, the expectations are that Babanu Humalam probably will be the luckiest of coaches to take Real Tamale United probably to beat, that is Tamale City, on the 4th week of the Ghana Premier League. The excitement are building up here, and I tell you, Tamale City is ready, Real Tamale United ready for this year's competition.
Thank you very much, Say Mubarak. We appreciate your time. That is Say Mubarak, and just as I mentioned earlier, you were having a conversation with the people of Samatex, and what were they telling you?
I mean, fascinating stuff. We spoke to one of the assistant coaches. And we also spoke to their business development officer, and also spoke to one of their new players, exciting player, Emmanuel Kayeke, who's also been expressing optimism ahead of next season.
Thank you. Let's go for that.
With me here is one of the, a member of the technical team of FC Samatex, and is an assistant coach, Coach Nassam Abubakar, and he's in charge of youth development and also an integral part of the planning and the strategy as far as getting the team to win games is concerned. Coach Nassam, thank you so much for joining us on Joy Sports here. I mean, you have a relatively new team, if I should call it, as far as the Ghana Premier League is concerned. A number of your players have not played in the Ghana Premier League before. What is the strategy that you're going into the 2022-23 Bet Power Ghana Premier League?
It's a fact. Okay. It's a fact that most of our boys have not tested the Premier League before. But football is a general thing. Most of them played in the Division 1 for so many years, and in so many competitions they play against most of the Premier Division teams. So it's going to be new, but in terms of football, it's not going to be something new entirely for them. So, and with the inclusion of the players you've just mentioned, we are sure we'll give a good account of ourselves in the Premier League.
We'll talk about Aduana Stars in 2009. Came to the Ghana Premier League and conquered. Likewise, quite a number of teams have come to the Ghana Premier League and conquered. Of course, they didn't end up winning the league, but they made a good account of themselves. Are you a little intimidated coming into the Ghana Premier League?
We are not intimidated. As I said, though we are one of the youngest in the Premier League, but we'll give a good account of ourselves. I'm hoping when the league starts, everybody will see we'll have a very good structure, very good financial backing. So we'll show something very, very good for people to see.
Tight beat gang on the beat, no.
Very experienced player, played with Kumasi Asante Kotoko, played in the Confederations Cup with them, played in the CAF Champions League with them. He's won the Ghana Premier League. In fact, he won the Ghana Premier League last season with Kumasi Asante Kotoko, and he has joined a newly promoted side, FC Samatex. I'm talking about the man Emmanuel Kayeke, who will be playing with FC Samatex come next season. Kayeke, congratulations on joining FC Samatex, but tell me very briefly what you are looking to achieve with FC Samatex come next season.
Well, thank you very much. You know, it's a new team and they have just entered the Ghana Premier League, and the expectations will be high, but we are keeping everything on the low end. We are training very hard and working very hard that we will at least try and get a very respectable position at the end of the season.
That is my colleague Musbau here. He had that interesting conversation. But Musbau, pretty quick one. Let's go on online again and speak to Dalali Frank. He's with Dreams FC. He's going to give us an insight into what the team has been doing ahead of the new Premier League season. Dalali, thank you very much for your time and apologies. You've been on for so long. Just give us a quick one. What is happening in the camp of Dreams? You are dreaming for the new season, isn't it?
Obviously, we are believers, and I think the new season, just as every club is preparing for the Ghana Premier League, I think we are also ready for the starts of the league. Last season was a great one, a bit of roller coaster. This time around, we have a head coach who has the opportunity to do a pre-season. Remember, he joined us in the middle of the season, but this time around, he's been able to have a pre-season with the squad. You remember that we are one of the clubs that lost a lot of players in the middle of the season. Yeah. A lot of people forget that Ishaku played for us at the point. we had a lot of people forget that, but we had a lot of players. But
in fact, if they forgot that, I'm sure at the beginning of the show they saw it. Kotoko versus Hearts, Kotoko versus Dreams when he scored. So
exactly. So we lost a lot of players in the middle of the season, and we had to adjust quite well. So we did a bit of recruitment, but if you know Dreams FC very well, we have a policy of using young players and promoting players from our youth side. So this season we promoted quite a few players to the youth side, and we've also had some few experience. We had a goalkeeper of, I'm sure you know, Bauer, who was with Omina Sharks, and also we also have Samuel Atta, who was also with Omina Sharks in our fold. So I think so far it's been a good pre-season. We've had a good
Who has come in? How many have you brought in? And what is it looking like for the season?
I think you know, Dreams FC very well. Our policy is purely young talent. So the ones that I gave you, the players that will make the news are Samuel Atta and Lord Power. They are experienced players that are already in the Premier League. The rest are players that we promote from our youth team. So we have Aziz from the youth side. We have Wisdom. These are young players that you would love them. You know, whenever we introduce these talented players, they take their league by storm. So these are, if you look at Dreams FC, our new signings are pretty much players that are, we have a player who is yet to play even professional football. He was just a student. He's a graduate of, as a matter of fact, a first-class student from UMass. We organized a Justify here, and he was exceptional talent. So you're going to see a graduate in our squad. The last time we had Ebel Manomi. So if you look at us and how we operate, we try to rely more on talented young players and give them the opportunity to exhibit how good they are. So for us, it's been a season that we are looking forward to. And we have a head coach who is Ignatius, who, apart from even the club wanting a lot from him, he's a manager that has a lot of attention on him because everybody wants to see what he does wherever he goes. So as a club, I believe we are ready as a club, and we are ready to always compete and show the world and the whole country what we have.
So that's Dreams FC, a member of Dreams FC communication team there. But we're going to go to the camp of Accra Hearts because one of the players that they have signed ahead of the next season is Yassan Wachin, a Central African Republic striker. And he's been speaking to my colleague George Ade Jr. ahead of next season, which starts this weekend.
About Ghana Premier League. Okay. And when my agent told me about Ghana League, before he told me about, I already know a little about the Ghana League. Okay. Yes, the Ghana Premier League. And he told me about the project, the league, and then Ghana Premier League is one of the biggest in Africa. Yeah. Everybody know. Yeah. And I come to see how I can do something and to challenge myself.
So you've got some best friends already? Have you got some very close friends already?
In my team?
Yeah, in your team. How's it work now?
All my teammates is my
all
friends.
Your best friends,
all,
okay.
Yes.
Okay.
I like them all, and they show me how
some great stuff.
Yes, they are good.
Yeah, but are there any of the players in there who are able to speak the French with you?
Sometimes coach.
Oh.
Yeah, sometimes coach.
Coach is speaking petit French,
yes,
petit small French, or you speaking quite some of it, I'm not sure.
No, the petit, some of do speak the petit French. Coach Hamza too speak the petit French.
I see.
Yeah.
Oh.
So, and Awako.
Okay.
Yeah,
Awako to speak French.
Yeah, Awako to speak French with me.
Inkum.
Yeah, he speak.
Hey.
Yeah.
I'm learning.
There are many.
Yeah.
I mean,
Kaba speaks French?
Yeah, Kabak already is, yes.
Already is French, so you flow.
Yeah.
Hassan watching, speaking to my colleague George Ade Jr. We do have Coach Osman with us. We're taking his...
Yeah, I mean, the curiosity is he going to be able to overtake Frank Etuga? You know, George asked him, is he going to be...
Okay, so hold on. Which player is a standout player you're looking forward to this season?
Look, not just one, frankly, not just one.
So give me three.
Good. Junior Kaba.
Okay.
They call him the chief priest.
Okay.
Yassan Wachin.
Chief priest. Okay.
Yassan Wachin.
Okay.
Because of his... I like it, it's really nice. Yassan Wachin, Steve Mukwala. Because there's been so much talk about him.
Okay.
So, Junior Kaba, Yassan Wachin, Steve Mukwala.
So you've overlooked Mfege and Etuga?
No, they have already proved themselves.
Okay.
I just want these ones to prove themselves.
Okay, so let's go to Takwa now and bring a report from Midiama SC. They have appointed a new coach in the person of David Duncan, but the assistant coach has been speaking to us, and this report was put together by my colleague, Michelle Quino.
Midiama finished the 2021-22 season second on the table and 11 points adrift Kotoko. A season end which can definitely be described as more than modest, as more than a number, left the Moving Yellows out of their pre-season top 4 predictions. Despite finishing second, a final day 2-0 defeat to Dreams FC is perhaps a perfect picture of Midiama's Jekyll and Hyde nature, which influenced many pre-season decisions. Following the end of season, the club parted ways with 6 players, Michael Sefa amongst the departures, and now there's a breath of fresh air within the club, as the Moving Yellows have brought in more than 10 new players. Ivorian striker Kade Boabe, a headline in the list of recruitments, and there is a real eagerness within the club to ensure Midiama remain in the top 4 this new season. Abdul Umar is head coach at the club.
I was expecting it. I told people that we were going to be in the top 4, and so I was expecting that. So the problem now is, you know, taking yourself to a certain standard is not difficult, but how to maintain it is the difficulty. Now that we have put in ourselves in the second place, people will not be thinking that we should be second again. We have to go for the ultimate. So
going for the ultimate? Is that a suggestion Midiama wants to distill Kotoko as Premier League champions? Well, only time will tell as the season unfolds. But maybe a precursor lies in the Gauka G6 tournament, where the club were defeated 3-2 by Bechem United in the semi-final. So, is that a cause for alarm?
Yep, I think this will help us very well in the season. When you look at the teams that we played, their strength and then weakness, you will see it through this tournament, and then when you meet them again, you know what to do.
So that's Midiama there, bringing us up to speed on the expectation ahead of next season. Let's go back to Zoom now and wrap up with Coach Osman. Coach, thank you for staying with us. Briefly, tell us your top 4 prediction, and let's push you to the wall also to tell us which teams you think are going to get relegated. Coach, if you can unmute. Yeah, Coach. Hear me? Yes, we can hear you now. So tell us your top 4 prediction ahead of next season.
Okay, my first prediction is Accra Kotoko is going to win the league.
Wow.
That's my first prediction. The second one is at least a coach will be fired in the first 5 matches. I mean, let's note down this very well.
Okay.
My third prediction is that quality is going to improve in this Ghana Premier League in this particular season. We're going to see some quality in terms of coaching, some quality in terms of the playing body. And then my last prediction is that journalists are going to be passionate about reporting GPL.
Coach, just before we wrap you up, so you mentioned that Kotoko is going to win the league. So if you can help us, who do you think is going to place second, third, and fourth?
Obviously, it's going to be Kotoko. My third would go to Midiama, and then my fourth will go to Olympics, and then my fourth will go to Olympics. Absolutely.
And which teams do you think are going to go down? This obviously is difficult, but which teams are going to go down?
The debutants. Two of them, I'm expecting two of them to go down. Any of them. And Tamale City, Samatex, Kotoko Royals, and
Swatraman. Oh, Mohamed Gago will not be happy to hear this. Mohamed Gago will not be happy to hear this.
Two of these teams will go down.
All right, thank you.
I'm very certain about it.
Thank you so much, Coach. Thank you so much for your time this evening. We appreciate your time so much.
This is a great show. Keep it up.
Thank you.
Thank you. You see what?
Two teams.
We also had our predictions. Yes. But which teams will be relegated for you?
Oh my words. That's so difficult. It's so difficult to tell.
Why?
Because we're journalists.
Come on. The one coach has left. But let's take a look at the coaches that are going to be spearheading the technical teams of the various clubs competing in the Ghana Premier League. Kumasi Asante Kotoko, they have got Seydou Zebo from Burkina Faso. Samuel Buedu is going into his third season with Accra House of Folk. He won the season with them, the league with them 2 seasons ago, and then last season he failed to win it. Yapreko takes over from Anawaka at Great Olympics. Bozovic Branco at King Faisal. Baba Malam Nuhu RTU. For his position, is quite an interesting one because he's also the technical director of Tamale Utrecht. I'm wondering how he's going to play those roles. There's Abdul Wahid of Tamale City, and his younger brother, Hamza Mohammed, is his assistant. Kotoko Royals, we have Seth Ablade, and No Walker will be taking charge of Samatex. Mohamed Gago, he'll be leading in Strathroman. Maxwell Konedu, one of the most experienced coaches in the Ghana Premier League, he's spearheading Legon Cities. Musbau, what about the rest?
Of course, Midiama will see David Duncan taking over Midiama there, and Kasim Mingo Okanse will also be managing Bechem United come next season. And at Bibeni Gold Stars, Michael Osei will continue to handle the team. And at Accra Lions, James Francis will be there. Parkwesi Fimin will also handle Indiana Stars. And Bismarck Kobe Mensah will also be with Karelia United. Christopher Enin will be with Brecum Chelsea. And Ignatius Osei Fosu will be with Dreams FC.
And then just a quick one. We're taking a look at the predictions Joy Sports have put up. But let's take a look at the fixtures of the matches that we're playing this weekend. It starts on Saturday, March day 1 of the Ghana Premier League 2022-2023. Quite an interesting one. We understand that there was supposed to be a match on Friday, but they are fixing some things at the Accra Sports Stadium, the lighting and all that. That's why there's no match on Friday. So the first match is going to be happening on Saturday. It's Great Olympics versus Bechem United. On Sunday, Kotoko Royals versus Accra Lions, Legon Cities versus Midiama SC, RTU versus Samatek. Musbau, the rest?
Karelia United will play Tamale City. Bibiani Gold Stars will play Dreams FC. Indiana Stars will host Heart of Folk.
That's a big one.
Absolutely. Brecum Chelsea will play King Faisal, and of course, Saint-Germain will travel to Kotoko, but that has been postponed.
It has been postponed. Now, let's take a look at the predictions of Joy Sports.
This is something.
I remember the first predictions from Gary, and I was like, what the heck? Gary was afraid to stick out his neck. Let's take a look at that. Joy Sports. Joy Sports. Top 4 predictions of Joy Sports. Gary Alsmith.
Heart of Folk.
He goes for Heart of Folk.
Asante Kotoko second. And Midiama third. And Bechem United fourth.
It appears Midiama is always in there anytime we are putting up our predictions. And we expect them to do well, but sometimes.
Benaya Dafia Mako. Amazing producer.
House of Oak. Asante Kotoko, Midiama SC.
Pretty much the same.
Why? Why are they all going for Hearts of Oak? I don't understand.
I don't know. All right, so that's 2. But
let's move on. Let's move on. Fentio Tahiru.
Hey,
I think this decision is very biased. He also goes for Hearts of Oak. Asante Kotoko is very biased.
Okay.
And they're all fixing Midiama at 3rd and Legon Cities. Legon Cities. Well, Maxwell Konedu might just pull a surprise over them. There's a possibility that something of that sort can happen. George Adejina, I was telling George Adejina there.
George is most certainly going to choose Heart of Oak. Would it be surprising if he would?
Because I think it is a fanatic.
Interestingly, George's prediction is same as Gary's prediction, same as Benaya's prediction. Just look at it. Heart of Oak, Asante Kotoko, Midiama, Betim United. Same.
They copied each other. And Joel Ni Bote, he leads with Kumasi Asante Kotoko, followed by Hearts of Oak, Kala United, and Midiama SC. These are the teams who think that they will make the top 4 of the Ghana Premier League. Lawrence Kweku, he also goes for Asante Kotoko, Hearts of Oak, Midiama SC, Ediana Stars. Let's take, in fact, I can't wait to see your own.
No, take it easy.
Hey, Mubarak.
Haruna.
Do you know that he's called Obama?
Really?
Obama.
Okay. In
fact, he has a name at GIJ. Okay. So let's move on. Asante Kotoko, Hearts of Oak, Betim United, Great Olympics. Okay. In fact, if you need stuff from Great Olympics, go to Mubarak.
Nathaniel Atos, Citizen Ato himself, Hearts of Oak first.
Someone whose grandfather was a Hearts of Oak something. There was no way he was ever going to choose a different club.
Asante Kotoko second, Great Olympics third. That's interesting. Great Olympics third. And Brecum Chelsea 4th. That's interesting.
That's quite an interesting one. This is the data man. I'm sure his decision is influenced by data.
Exactly.
So I will trust his.
So Asante Kotoko is first for Oreko Ampo 4. Heart of Oak is second. Brecum Chelsea is third. And Ediana Stars 4th.
Well, let's take a look at others. And you are here. Asante Kotoko, Hearts of Oak, Kerala United, Great Olympics. What influenced your decision to go for Kotoko? Is it science and data?
Science and data. Analysis. So you study the project, you study the trajectory of the data.
Yes.
Understand? And the data point to a certain direction. That there will be fanfare in Kumasi come the end of the season.
Okay, so let's just wrap up pretty quick on the predictions. Let's go. My own. When I know bring them.
Yeah, so this Abdul Karim. Hearts of Oak first, Asante Kotoko second, Betim United third, and Kerala United 4th. And of course, everybody is waiting to see what you chose. And
yes.
What you chose.
Just
relax.
Yes.
Asante Kotoko.
Yes.
Midiama. Hearts of Oak 3rd.
Yes.
Ediana Stars 4th.
In fact, last season, Hearts of Oak finished outside the top 4. So if I put them at 3rd, that is even... They are lucky to get the 3rd position. In fact,
3rd.
Asare Bediako, the chief producer, Asante Kotoko. Oh, like Hearts of Oak, Midiama, Betim United, Asare Bediako.
Asare Bediako.
Nana Asare Bediako. In fact, this shall wrap up GPL Primer here.
I mean, you also drop your prediction. Go to Twitter, hashtag GPL Primer. Tweet at us at George Sports. Let's know your prediction, top 4 predictions also. And we're going to keep the conversation going.
Thank you. We appreciate your time. Thanks to everyone who made this a success, especially the Joy Sports team led by Gary Alsmith.